Everyone, welcome to Maximum Attack Rallying and to your Monday dose of rallying chit chat. It is rally week, and as we head into a brace of tarmac events before the season finale in Saudi Arabia, there is lots and lots to talk about. Obviously, we had enormous news last week as Kalle Rovanperä announced his retirement from the WRC as he seeks a new career in the world of circuit racing. Still don't know what to say about that, really. Still a massive piece of news, but it is not the only intriguing thing to consider going into this weekend. On a slightly sad note, this is the final running of the Central European Rally as we know it, as it will drop off the WRC calendar after this season. I'm a little bit disappointed by that, to be honest with you. I thought the Tri-Nation event was an interesting concept, brought something slightly unique to the championship, even though it was based in Europe, as I know a lot of events are. But I thought it was a nice event, or is a nice event, I should say, and I think tarmac rallies deserve a little bit more space on the calendar than they currently get, especially as we've lost some of the iconic rallies like Corsica and San Remo. There is always space for more tarmac in my mind, at least. So we'll just have to make the most of it, won't we, this weekend, make the most of our final trip to CER. And before that rally shuffles off this mortal coil, we have 306 kilometers of asphalt to savour across Austria, Germany and the Czech Republic. The rally is based in the German city of Passau. The action kicks off on Thursday afternoon with two passes of the Golf und Theme test, which is just under 13 kilometres. Friday brings 99 kilometres over two loops of three stages, so standard stuff there. We've got the Granite and Wald test, which is 10.86 kilometres, the Bomber Wald stage at 15.27 kilometres, and the Col de Jan, which is 23.4 kilometres. Saturday is the longest day of the rally, no surprises there, of course. We've got Czech roads to look forward to on Saturday, 104 kilometres. We've got the Maiden FRG stage, which is 14.3 kilometres, the Kepli stage at 21.95 kilometres, and the Kartovy stage at 15.57 kilometres. Just a little note, the order for Saturday afternoon changes, so they will then switch to run in Kepli, Klatovy and Maiden FRG, so it's like change in stage order there. Another noteworthy point for Friday and Saturday is that there will be no midday service, just a regroup and tyre halt, so the crews will need to be extra careful to avoid taking any risks on those days. Sunday is the usual short affair with two passes of the Beyond Borders stage and the Multal stage at 12.37 and 26.52 kilometres respectively. That means the latter, which is the power stage, is the longest stage of the rally, so that's a pretty meaty one. Weather, we have to talk about the weather though, don't we? Weather is the critical factor at CER. The slightest hint of rain would mean mud, crud and all sorts of other things pulled out onto the stages, and that could be a huge factor, couldn't it? So as I record this on Monday, the forecast I have checked at various locations is talking about a 20% chance of rain, so it might be okay, but do keep an eye on what that weatherman or weatherwoman has to say, because the forecast could be one of the major deciding factors of the weekend. Sébastien Ogier will, of course, be hoping for a little bit of that rain to happen. He leads the field, so is first on the road, leads the championship, and wet weather could very well play into his hands. Obviously, he is a master of controlling rallies, and if he has the cleanest of the conditions, that will definitely help him no end. Even if it is mostly dry, you know, he remains in the best position, because even in dry conditions, a bit of mud and dust and gravel will be pulled out onto the roads. Elfyn Evans starts behind him, obviously second in the championship. He needs a good result to keep the pressure on, especially having lost that championship lead in Chile. The gap is just 2 points, isn't it? Just 2 points. It is super, super close. So the slightest slip from either driver could have pretty dramatic consequences. That said, the Welshman does go rather well on the black stuff and starting directly behind Ogier. I think if anyone can threaten him this weekend, Eldon is in with a very good chance of doing that. Speaking of people with a chance to do that, however, starting behind those two is Kalle Rovanperä. Obviously, he is now a budding F1 driver, but is definitely going to be a factor here, I think. His form has been up and down, hasn't it, this year, safe to say. Obviously, we now know why, because he's clearly been distracted by other things. He was unbeatable on the dry, smooth tarmac of the Canary Islands early this year. So that could be a warning sign. Obviously, the characteristics of the roads at CE are very different. So it's hard to say, isn't it? But his speed could certainly put him in the mix. That's going to be one to watch. Then we have another intriguing customer, perhaps the man who is taking the most interesting strategy into the last few rallies, and that is Tänak. So while Rovanperä is 21 points off the championship lead, the Estonian is a massive 43 points off. It is a bit of a long shot, I think it's fair to say, but it looks like he is very much willing to gamble. So firstly, worth noting, the team has elected to not nominate Tänak for championship points for the remainder of the season. That's a big move, but what it does mean is that he does not carry the same restrictions in terms of changing parts on that car, so that should keep his i20 a bit healthier and in the fight. It's a bold call in itself, particularly for the team. The other thing is that he has elected to take a Monte Carlo specification i20 as the basis for his CER machine and not the latest and greatest i20 that Thierry Neuville and Adrien Fourmeau will be driving, which will also have an upgraded set of dampers for this weekend, I believe. That's a really interesting move. So Tänak has told the media that he believes that older spec car will perform better in slippery conditions. It's going to be fascinating to see how that plays out. I think what I would say is that and I think I might have said this in a previous video, the toing and froing that seems to be going on within that team about which car is better is a little bit concerning. So a lot was promised when the new i20 made its debut, wasn't it? Sweden, I think it was, wasn't it? Then they went back to the old car for the Safari because they wanted to make sure that they had the most durable package possible. For me, the fact that they are publicly discussing which car might be faster on tarmac, that to me suggests something of a lack of faith in their new creation, in this much vaunted 2025 spec car. You know, there was a big push to bring in extra jokers. They were allowed to use extra jokers to try and bring that car up to speed. But if they don't know which is the best car, I mean, what does that say about the testing? What does that say about the data? What does that say about the confidence in the design philosophy behind the changes to that car? It just seems very strange to me. Someone at Hyundai must know which of those cars is better. And if they don't, the question is, why not? Anyway, we'll see what happens, won't we? Maybe the proof will be given this weekend. The remainder of the Rally 1 lineup, pretty standard stuff this weekend. So we've got Neuville, then Takamoto Katsuta, Fourmeau, and then the M Sport duo of Gregoire Munster and Josh McAleen. Picking a winner for this one is not easy, I don't think. Obviously, as I said, the weather could throw some real curveballs at us, which makes it slightly tricky to make a prediction. It would be very easy for me to sit here and bet on Sébastien Ogier. Obviously, as I said, he is a master at controlling the rally and driving to the conditions. I just have a sneaking suspicion, however, that Elfyn Evans might pull something out of the bag this weekend. He's had a tough mid-season. He's done reasonably well. Obviously difficult to lose the championship lead, but he has He's done an okay job of managing being at the front. Yes, there could have been a bit more speed at times, but he has consistently got himself into the podium positions a few times, so not bad by any means. I just wonder, he's got pretty good road position, you know, as good as it can get without being at the front. Even if it does rain, the roads will be better for him than they will be for most people, so I've just got a little feeling about Evans this weekend. That said, even if the Welshman does come out on top, I expect Ogier will be on the podium because that's been his jam this year, hasn't it? He has been very, very consistent with the rallies that he's done. I think especially with uncertainty about the pace of the pace of the Hyundai, I could see a Toyota whitewash here, to be honest. I really could. I could see Rovanperä finishing on the final step of the podium and Hyundai walking away from this rally wondering what on earth happened and still wondering which is the best spec for their car. So that is my prediction. Evans, Ogier, Rovanperä. I do just want to touch on WRC2 very quickly. The field is a little bit sparse for this one. I think there's 14 Rally 2 cars. Not all of those are registered for WRC2 points. Obviously the championship fight has been decided in favour of Oliver Solberg. There's nothing really to fight for aside from individual glory. Solberg and Nikolai Gryazin are probably the two standouts this weekend, though Leo Rossell is also there in a Citroën C3, so perhaps he will feature a very good tarmac driver and French champion, so maybe he will be in there. For me, I think with the pressure off, I might give it to Gryazin. He has shown tremendous speed on the black stuff, so maybe with Solberg not needing to do so well, he will come out on top. But Solberg has said that he would like to do as well as possible on these last few rallies, and I think with a potential Rally 1 seat next year, he will want to keep it very much firmly in Toyota's mind that he is the man to be in that car, so maybe he will continue his victory parade. But this is where I hand it over to you guys. Do let me know in the comments who you think is going to come out on top, both in WRC 2 or Rally 2 and in Rally 1. Do you think my prediction is correct? Do you think I'm wide of the mark? Let me know in those comments. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button while you're there. I do very much appreciate your support. Other than that though, I think it's time to wrap this one up and keep watching the weather forecast, and we will see what happens. See you next time.